Hello, hello, Len. Welcome to Entrepreneur Talks podcast run by Women Flix. Such a pleasure, and I'm so excited to have you here with me today.
Oh, Yola, thank you so very much for having me on. It's been a bright and 80-mile-an-hour morning for me so far.
Oh, wow.
Because entrepreneurs do everything that they need to do to make the business successful. I was up before 5 and driving a passenger to Midway Airport.
Wow.
Because that's my side gig. I work for an airport livery service at the same time that I'm starting a shoe company.
Fantastic. That's amazing, Len. So where are you calling from? Like, where exactly are you right now?
Well, I'm not driving. Let's get that, make that clear. I'm at the cell phone lot at Chicago Midway Airport.
Oh, fantastic. So you're in Chicago.
Which is my home away from home.
Oh, really? It's home away from home?
I'm here a lot, or I'm at the cell phone lot at O'Hare.
Ah, okay. Fantastic.
Or I'm at home in my office.
That's good. Good to know, and good to that you're not driving. You're just sitting down and you're going to be talking with me.
I know. I planned the timing out very carefully to be done and be here and be ready.
That's amazing. Entrepreneurs.
For you.
That's awesome. Lovely, lovely. So getting to your journey and story, Len, sorry, mistake on your name. Len, in 3 words, can you describe yourself as a person?
Ooh, 3 words. Persistent, exuberant, and deeply passionate about this footwear.
Fantastic. That's brilliant. So this footwear, so which footwear are we talking about?
Okay, so our journey spans 20 years here, or more actually. I've been a recreational runner since college, and trained marathoners how to run marathons for 17 years.
Wow.
With as a pace group leader for Chicago area runners. And in the process of that, being an engineer and being an avid bicyclist, I came to the conclusion that the shoes were not doing nearly what they could be doing for people. That everything else was growing by leaps and bounds. You know, bicycle frames were getting better and better and faster. And the shoes were still the same old, cookie cutter with different sprinkles that we had for decades. Okay, so what I came up with was a very big jump here. What I came up with was a elliptical composite suspension. Kind of like if you were to take a cardboard tube out of paper towels. If you were to cut that to the width of a shoe and flatten it onto the table, well, that ellipse that you get, if you squeeze that thing, anyone can do it at home with a piece of cardboard. If you squeeze that, that's what's in the sole of our shoe. 2 big ones that are about 4 inches long and a hinge in the forefoot.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. So and it looks simple, but when you land on this and deflect the carbon suspension, and your body passes the middle of the shoe, and then you roll onto the forefoot and the hinge opens up, it's like a little gymnast vault that pushes you into the next stride.
Wow.
Well, the first time I ran this thing, and I had done 9 previous marathons, okay? And my PR was 4:38, 4 hours and 38 minutes, in 9 previous marathons because I'm the pace leader, with the exact same training program. So that didn't change. People always ask, did your training change that year? It's like, no, it's been the same for every one of my 21 marathons so far.
Wow.
And so in that year that I ran this thing, I went from 4:38, I cut 15 minutes off my marathon time, 6%, down to 4:23.
That's amazing.
And that was 2002, okay?
Oh.
So 19 years ago. now. And that was a huge epiphany to run that marathon and cut that much time off, which is unheard of. Okay. And more than that, it was the experience of that marathon, because I'm, you know, I do a lot of adventure sports, you know, scuba diving, and I skydived for 20 years and got my pilot's license in high school, all that sort of stuff. Bike raced, you know, ski raced. I ski raced for 12 years. And so it's the experience of the thing that I believe is compelling for people, for me at least. And the experience of that marathon was that I always had, you know, because Chicago is a big crowded marathon and you have to weave through the pack, you know, which adds a mile, you know, with all of that unneeded motion. And so I always had gas pedal to go up diagonally through the pack. And I picked it up at the second half of the marathon. I was looking at my watch going, wow, I'm at a pretty good PR pace for me, you know? And I picked it up in the second half and ran a negative split. The second half of the marathon was faster than the first, and the last mile was fastest of all.
Wow. This is
and
amazing,
so
man.
Well, and so the epiphany was, wow, if I can take that shoe and get it to market so that other people can have that experience, it'll change lives.
Definitely. I'm a runner, Len. I do run. So I'm already I'm already imagining what these shoes will make me faster, or it's just I understand what you mean, because it's the flexibility that I will have in my feet, right? It will increase the speed, because I love that part where you bend the trainer. And
right, the hinge.
And then that makes me, it gives me like avalanche to go. Boom. That's really
exactly like a catapult.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want that. I definitely want.
Well, on our Kickstarter right now. Okay, so every other carbon shoe out there in the world is a plate with foam on it.
Yeah.
And they only go, you know, a normal running shoe, a normal foam running shoe will go about 400 miles before it's worn out, you know, in the midsole. I mean, it might look new, but it's not good for running anymore. And these carbon and foam plate shoes will go maybe 250 miles. Okay, they're very fragile, actually. Our shoe, there are versions of our shoe, previous versions, that I personally ran over 800 miles.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
Because the suspension, you know, keeps going indefinitely.
That's really good. Oh, so how long you been? So now, as I understood, so you got your shoes almost or 20 years ago, like you start with this idea and you've been trying and now is about to go to the market, right?
We are on the market. Our Kickstarter is running right now.
You already are on the market. So how long, what make you take like that long? Because I know you're coming from a sports life. You've always been running and skiing and doing a lot of exercise. So you are a sports person. So what made you just...
Why did it take so long?
Yeah.
I'm bad at business.
Oh,
I mean, you could conclude that, right? You could conclude that if you've got a really great product and it's taken this long, you must be bad at business. Good engineer, maybe, yeah, but bad at business. Well, what happened was, it's kind of a simple explanation that spans 2 decades, and Nike Air was not invented by Nike, okay? It was invented by an ex-aerospace engineer named Frank Rudy. And so when I first got this shoe, the version that I ran in the marathon in 2002, when I first ran that shoe, I called Frank Rudy. I'd been corresponding with him for years, off and on. And I called him and said, you won't believe what I just did. I cut 15 minutes off my PR with this shoe, you know, and his immediate conclusion was, wow, you must, based on that one statement, you must have something really special going on.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I do. So, you know, and he was intimately connected for decades with Nike. And I'm like, so can you get me on? You know, can you bring me into Nike? And we tried. But it did not work. I had to get approval from the Air and the Shocks groups, and they said no, that it would dilute the brand, which it would not, you know. And so we didn't get in at Nike, but Frank said, okay, find another company, find a big company, convince them of your design's merits, which should be easy, and work with them. That was his path in life. Well, we found a couple of different companies. One of them, you know, we had a pretty extensive dealing with New Balance.
Oh no!
And we saw everybody. We talked to Saucony and their president Richie Woodworth, who's a great guy. We talked to Brooks. We talked with, you know, we talked with Ultra at one point, Golden Harper, those guys. We talked with Newton, and eventually we ended up at Under Armour, and we had an innovation contract there for 3 years, but didn't quite get the shoe to market, even though we did a wonderful wear test program, okay, that had outstanding results. So you would think that would have worked. Not quite. There's lots of things that can derail, you know, these kinds of processes. And so we decided to launch it ourselves. We decided to, you know, raise a little money, build prototypes. The barriers to entry to starting your own company have been getting lower and lower every year.
Yeah.
And so we thought, okay, let's do what Hoka did. Let's do what Ultra did. Let's start a company and get it to market ourselves. And here we are.
Oh, wow. Well done. I love
Yes.
the story. I love you never gave up. You never gave up. You never gave up. And your dream's still there and you're seeing things, and now it's happening from your own side. You tried your best, right? You jump, you call, you reach, you look for every company, and they all did something or said something. But now
what's funny is somebody at every company loved the shoe. Like when we got into Under Armour, for example, the manager who brought us in, okay, when I cold called him, and you know, so you might say, well, what are the keys to success? Okay, courage is a big one, and persistence.
Yeah.
My brother might say, who's also an engineer, my brother might say, you know, being too dumb to give up, you know, might be a virtue, you know. But the manager at Under Armour that we called, as soon as I started explaining the carbon fiber suspension, he was like, okay, we gotta get you in here to Baltimore, you know, to talk about this. And it turns out his previous job, he was in charge of composite bats at Mizuno. And so he knew about carbon fiber and what amazing things it could do in sports equipment. Had I not reached that one guy, we wouldn't have you know, been asked in, probably.
Oh, wow.
And so persistence and being willing to cold call people, because, you know, everyone's curious. Everyone wants to hear what's going on. Yeah. You know, what do you have that's new and special? And if you find those people, they will, you know, because they see the benefit for them, they see the benefit for their companies, they'll engage with you. They'll say, hey, come on in, let's talk, let's sign an NDA, you know.
That's amazing, Lenn. That's amazing. I'm so excited to see this in London. Where are you selling these trainers right now? Is all worldwide, or how can we get the pair of your trainers?
Okay, so there's our logo, Hann. It's hannshoes.com. And if you go to HANN shoes.com, right on the main page is our Kickstarter, a link to the Kickstarter. And if you go to the Kickstarter, you can order the shoes. And here's the crazy thing, okay? A carbon shoe normally costs about $250, you know, that I mentioned. And the joke is they cost $250 and that's how many miles you get. Well, not with this one, okay? We're selling this shoe online right now for $99. $99, and we're shipping worldwide. We currently have orders from 26 countries.
Yes, that's wonderful news. I was about to.
So you can get them. You can get them.
Yes.
And this shoe will last at least double the life of a conventional running shoe because of the carbon suspension. Okay. I personally put over 800 miles on a pair.
Fantastic. And what are the colors? What are the colors of the trainers? Are just that, like that?
Anything you want, so long as it's this dark gray.
Ah, okay. Start gray, anything I want. I like blacks. I like all black stuff.
Well, okay. So actually, we've had some. I've done at this point. Okay, so our Kickstarter runs 60 days, right? And we're about halfway through it. At this point, I've done 60 interviews. Okay, talking like this one. You know, talking with people, explaining about elliptical suspension and about, you know, why this would be better than what's out there now, and how I've run 10 marathons in these myself at this point. Okay. But one of the interviews we did was with a fashion designer in LA who designs beautiful triathlon and running clothing. Okay. And he said, you know, you need to murder this out. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you know, murder it out. It means black, one end to the other, all black. And so we're actually in a pretty vigorous discussion right now, talking about, you know, what should be the released colorway, because we only get one colorway for men's and one colorway for women's.
Okay, all right.
So you're voting, Yola, you're voting for all black.
Yeah.
Okay.
It gives me all the black, the trainers are for me, like it will give me more speed, the black.
It would. Lots of people agree on that.
Yeah. The speed comes with the color, like vroom. I'm seeing myself flying with these trainers, because let me tell you a story. The reason I know, because some people run, but they don't know, they're not professionals, but they run with random trainers, which is a waste of time because you can't actually run properly. But back in the days, I had a friend in Portugal, where I'm coming from. He was a professional runner, and he said, "Oh, Yola, would you like to run?" I said, actually, I do some run, but not. And he said, "Okay, come on, I give you these trainers," because we wear the same size. So he had a lot of trainers, and he could provide me one. When I remember like yesterday, Len, when I placed my feet inside that trainers and I started to run that, was like I was flying. And I was like, what is this? Because I never had this opportunity before. I didn't know that I need trainers, specific trainers for run. So I started my running experience with these trainers. Then I start to run. So I'm not a professional. I'm not a runner like 10K or so, but I like to run daily. And that makes me really good. But I make sure my trainers are good. There we go. They need to be light. They need to be specific in certain things, which I learned today a little bit more. But I can assure you that your trainers on my feet, they're going to make me fly. I'm so excited.
Well, here's the crazy thing. As good as that first trainer felt to you from whatever you had been running in, as good as that jump was, this is the next big jump. You'll put this on and go, oh my gosh, this feels so amazing to me.
Yeah, because actually, and it's built by someone that has been running for years. So you know exactly. And I'm so like, I really like I can understand the speed that will give me to run. This is amazing. Amazing.
Well, if you've ever in an airport, if you've ever seen a black rubber moving sidewalk, not the metal ones like an escalator, but the black rubber ones.
I know
they had those at O'Hare, and that was a big piece of the experience for me in developing this, because that black rubber moving sidewalk used to feel so floaty, so beautifully suspended, you know, like a really taut trampoline maybe. And it's almost an embarrassing story. One evening, I first ran a version of this shoe in 2002. Well, 5 years previously, 1997, one evening in the summer, I was training for my third marathon at that point. Well, 5 years previously, 1997, one evening in the summer, I was training for my third marathon at that point. I drove to O'Hare with a cooler full of Gatorade and a bag of shoes, and I ran a half marathon on those black rubber moving sidewalks, barefoot. Because the sidewalk had such a resilient feeling.
Okay.
Such a floaty, good, resilient feeling that I was trying shoes on, thinking, well, what do I want to run on this thing? And I'm jogging back and forth barefoot, and I thought, this feels really good. Let's just go. And I ran a PR, a personal record, on that. And the belts were stopped that evening, which made it even better, easier, to calculate how many laps would be a half marathon. The belts were stopped, and I just flew along, came in just over 2 hours, which is a PR for me. Okay. And that was the first big epiphany. It's like, whatever this belt is doing, if I can duplicate that in a shoe, it would be amazing. Well, here we are.
There we are. Yeah, here we are. That's amazing. I'm speechless. I'm like, whoa. I never, it's true, because it's such a, I'm sure it's such a good product. I'm not trying to sell anything to anyone, any listener, but because I do have experience in running, I do have experience in shoes and trainers. Sorry. And I see, and I can see, because some people right now in our Zoom, on our podcast, they will be able to listen, but the ones that will, but the ones that will go into our YouTube, they will be able to see the trainer, and it's such a really good one. It's such a powerful. I really like, and I'm so curious about the edition, the black edition. I'm looking forward. I hope it comes out. So think about carefully, Lenn, about the blacks.
We might have to put Yola on it somewhere.
That would be perfect. You can see someone flying. Can I like using my trainers every single day just to make just to show off, not just end.
I know. I know. Well, what part of what's funny is these I can't even wear these right now. I'm an 11.5, and the size you use for development is a size 9, a men's 9. But this fits my son. So my son wants to wear them all the time.
That's amazing.
He's like, can I wear these to school, Dad? And show everybody. My shoe says Hann on it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Promoting your brand. So this needs to be some people needs to.
Well, I'm trying to lock down the middle school market if I send him to school with the shoes on. It's a joke.
but that's good. If he wears the shoes, will be a good thing. It's good.
I know.
It's good. So now, all I want to know, my last question for you is, Lenn, and how can people connect with you and find more about your work? I know we've been talking about the website, but is there anywhere else that people can?
Okay, so we're at Hann Shoes, one word, Hann Shoes, on Instagram and Facebook. And we have the most amazing social media manager. So if you reach out to us, I mean, we've talked with channels. We'll talk with anybody, who's curious about our shoe. Just a week ago, I did an Instagram live, and I didn't know anything about who was going to be there. And the image comes up, and it's 2 14-year-old boys in the UK.
Wow, that's so amazing.
With their own running channel, and they had great questions. They had serious, great questions, and we talked for an hour.
That's amazing.
And I asked them, I said, so who is normally your guest on your channel? And they said, our parents, our coaches, mate, you're the first shoe manufacturer we've ever had. I'm like, there we go. I've finally got a set of first.
That's wonderful. Actually, Len, let me tell you that you are my first guest with shoe manufacturer as well. I never had anyone.
See?
So
Yola, there we go. Another first.
It's first time. It's first time. So I'm sure you've been talking with a lot of people that is feeling the same way like me and the other boys. It's the first time I'm hearing someone.
Well, and the reason, okay, is an important reason. This suspension, you know, this floaty, it's like your regular shoes being pushed off the ground by magnets. Okay, that's what it feels like. Kind of like an elliptical trainer, maybe, when you run on that.
Yeah.
And it's not just for runners. They're the people who get it quickest, I think, you know, and I am one, so that's my people. But it's for your mom. It's for your brother who doesn't run. It's for the old man next door who can barely get to the mailbox. Yeah. We're really on a mission to relieve pain and suffering for people, you know, who have it because their mobility is limited because of their footwear, you know. Mm-hmm. And yeah. This has never existed before, and it does amazing things for people. And we've gotten so much feedback from people who've worn it, who have chronic pain, you know.
Yes.
That they've gotten relief. And so eventually we hope to see this in walking shoes, you know, in work boots, in everything. Yes. Running shoes are just the beginning.
Just the beginning, and I'm part of the beginning. I love it.
You are.
Thank you so much, Len. It was a pleasure. And once again, I'm so honored to be part of this beginning, this new relaunch, and I think I can call that relaunch.
Yeah.
You've been creating and yes, we can call relaunch, right?
Happy to.
But so thank
Happy
you so
to.
much.
And I just want to get the interview I want to see next is not where I tell you what it feels like, but where we get back on and you tell me this is how it works, Len. This is what happened for me, you know.
That's right.
And I ran a 10K and I ran a half marathon and all of those wonderful stories.
Yes, when you are ready, put me on your guest list for that conversation. Soon, like, it's a good idea, Len, really, because I want to get the trainers. Okay, I will get it. Soon, you know, y'all got the trainers. Put me on your guest list, and I'm happy to talk about it because
we will be happy to be back.
Yeah, after the week, I can talk about it, about the shoes, the trainers for sure.
Okay.
I'm sure, because I do believe I really like them. And I see what is there. The suspension, the avalanche that will give me will help a lot. So that's what I'm aiming for. So thank you once again, Len. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Yola.
Have a safe drive back and enjoy the rest of the day. Take care. God bless.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.